What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. Today I have an underused match. This one is against Kaoru from Twitter, and I decided to throw together a pretty interesting team. I decided to bring back Registeel. I got freaking Roserade, who's pretty awesome, along with Rotom Heat, who I don't bring a lot. But looking at my opponent's team, my main concern is the Mega Beedrill, and honestly, I'm kind of really afraid of the Galvantula setting up the Sticky Web, just because obviously, I don't want to be slower than shit, and I did not bring a Rapid Spinner, which really proves to kind of bite me in the ass here. But I decided to lead off with my Roserade as he leads off his Galvantula, and he actually just goes straight for the Bug Buzz turn 1 rather than going for the Sticky Web. It's not going to kill me, obviously, and that allows me to go ahead and get a nice little Sleep Powder off on this thing, so that is pretty damn amazing. At this point in the match, I was like, alright, I don't have to worry about Sticky Webs, Merry fucking Christmas to me, so that is pretty cool. I figure he's going to want to go ahead and switch out here, and I expect him to go into the Fortress, as he actually does switch into the Fortress, and I'm going to go ahead and switch myself into my Heat Rotom, which is an awesome matchup, obviously because Fortress just is allergic to fire. So on this turn, I decided to go for the Will-O-Wisp, actually expecting him to switch. I didn't think this man had balls of steel to be able to stay in against a freaking Rotom Heat. What he actually does, maybe it predicted that. I honestly expected him to go into his Swampert, maybe fearing the Volt Switch or something like that. So I got a Will-O-Wisp off on the Fortress, which actually kind of is annoying, as now he's going to bring in the freaking Sylveon, as I go for the Overheat this turn. I was like, alright, maybe he's just going to stay in again, but yeah, he switches. So I do get a critical hit there, which is kind of nice, but unfortunately, after the special attack drop, I'm definitely not going to be able to kill off this Sylveon. So I decide it's about time to kidnap this girl, so I'm like, you know what, it's actually a male Sylveon. But I'm going to bring out Steelio Girl, because this thing can't really do any damage to me at all, unless it has, like, Hidden Power Fire, in which case I still probably wouldn't take much damage, because I am especially defensive Registeel. So he goes ahead and sets up a Wish here, which kind of tells me what this Sylveon's objective is. It's one of those freaking support ones, and I'm kind of bummed about that, because that means that this thing is probably going to have Heal Bell, and as you see, he actually does go directly for the Heal Bell, which is going to go ahead and get the burn off of the Fortress, and it's going to wake up the freaking Galvantula. So that is really shitty for me. I was like, well, damn, I worked super hard for those freaking status conditions, and this thing comes out here and wags a bell around, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So that sucks. I was able to set up my Stealth Rock on the last turn, which is going to be pretty helpful for me. Having those Stealth Rock around is definitely going to limit his switches. So he goes ahead and actually switches directly into the Blitzkrieg, which is the Galvantula. This thing is awakened. He's like, I had a nice fucking nap. I'm ready to go, as I actually went for a Thunder Wave. I was kind of expecting him to maybe bring in something better to handle Registeel, like the Hydreigon with Earth Power and something like that, but I don't know. So at this point, he's going to go ahead and be able to get a free Sticky Web, and I'm like, well, damn, I thought I was going to avoid this, but it turns out I'm pretty fucked. So he gets a Sticky Web up. Now I have to basically play from behind. At this point, all of my Pokemon are pretty much going to be slower than his, and it was at this point in the match that I realized he has a layer of spikes up. This man has a Sticky Web. He brings out his Swampert here, and I'm like, okay, this thing's probably going to want to set up Stealth Rock. So I'm like, well, shit, I should probably try to play defensively. I'm going to really need to try to take advantage of my Wall Core here, because my walls actually do really well against his team. My Milotic handles a lot of the stuff that he has. So I went for the Poison Jab there as he switched into the Swampert, and obviously that's not going to do really anything, as I'm just going to go ahead and U-turn. So my prediction is that he's going to go for the Stealth Rock. I really wanted to bring in my Roserade, but then as I was thinking about it, I was like, hold on, he's just going to be able to outspeed me and then kill me with an Earthquake because those damn Sticky Webs. So I switched into my Milotic, considering I know that his Swampert probably doesn't really have anything that can hurt me, as he actually just does go for the Stealth Rock. So at this point, he has a layer of spikes, the Stealth Rock, and the Sticky Web, and I'm like, well, fuck, I really should have brought a Rapid Spinner or a Defogger or something, but I blew it. So I'm going to have to deal with it, but whatever. So I'm just now going to go for a Scald, as I'm expecting him to probably want to switch out here, as he actually does switch out, and he goes into the freaking Fortress again. And I was like, well, there's not really a whole lot I can do at this point, because I don't really want to switch out just to rack up the Stealth Rock damage, so I decided to just actually stay in here and go for another Scald. I was kind of hoping it was going to be able to take this thing out. I know that he's probably going to want to set up another layer of spikes, as he does, and I was like, well, shit, there is just so many damn hazards on my side of the field. It is ridiculous, so I'm really going to have to play it defensively here. So I go for the Scald, and I actually do get a burn, which is fantastic, because that is going to kill the Fortress this next turn, and I don't have to worry about this thing doing any, pulling any freaking funny business. So the burn is going to kill the Fortress, and it's like, hey, later, you fucking steel walnut, you're an asshole for setting up those spikes. I hate you. But yeah, so that thing was actually burned twice in one match. That's kind of funny. But here, he decides to go into the Galvantula, and I'm like, okay, I have to make a switch here. I'm just going to go into my Registeel, because he's either going to go for the Energy Ball to predict a switch into my Mamoswine, or the Thunder. Either way, I can kind of absorb. any attack from this thing just because I'm a pretty much specially defensive beast. So he actually does go for the energy ball, telling me he was expecting me to go into the mammal swine, kind of predicting the thunder, which is kind of nice for me because the energy ball obviously just does less to my big old ball of iron. So now he goes for the thunder. It is going to connect and doesn't really do a whole lot of damage as Registeel's just kind of over here just eating shit up, and I'm able to finish this thing off with a seismic toss. So the 2 Pokemon I've killed so far are ones that he would probably want me to kill. He doesn't really have anything left to do with Galvantula. He got his sticky web up and his freaking fortress kind of did its job with setting up the hazards and stuff. So at this point, he's going to go ahead and bring back in his Swampert, and here's me just playing my walls. At this point, I was like, okay, this is going to be a pretty stally match, as it is a pretty long one, but it turned out to be really interesting. So I switch into my Milotic here. I'm just taking Sticky Web, taking Spikes, freaking Stealth Rock, just going around doing my shit, as he actually goes for the Roar. And I was like, wow, I honestly, as soon as I switched, I was like, he's probably going to roar, and he freaking does roar. So now I'm just taking so much damage with the Stealth Rock and the Spikes. Even Registeel is not enjoying this. This guy literally is a fucking big-ass 9,000 pound. Actually, I don't even know how much this thing weighs. It seems like he would weigh a lot. I don't know. Still, Spikes doesn't seem like it would really hurt this guy, but it adds up. So he's going to go for a Scald here. He actually does end up getting the burn. I was kind of surprised that he went for Scald there. I was like, Scald? I was honestly expecting just to die to an Earthquake, but hey, I'll take it. But yeah, so I go for a Seismic Toss, just trying to get a little bit of chip damage off on this thing. I was doing damage calcs, trying to figure out how much an Overheat would take to kill this thing from Rotom. And I was I'm kind of relying on my Rotom at this point, because I'm the only one that doesn't take the speed drop from the Sticky Web, and Rotom does relatively well against his team. So yeah, the Swampert is able to finish off my Registeel, and I'm down to just 1 wall, which is my Milotic. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to play it safe by going into this thing now. I know that I'm going to take some damage, obviously, from the hazards, which is going to set me below half, but my plan here was to just go for the recover and try to conserve as much health as possible with Milotic. And he actually goes ahead and switches out, which is kind of nice for me, as he brings in the Sylveon. The Sylveon still is a problem for me. My plan for it was obviously I do have the Mega Beedrill with freaking Poison Jab, and I also have a Roserade, but at this point, if I were to bring those in, I would get outsped by this thing, and it can kill my freaking Beedrill with a Psyshock, so that's kind of, that plan is, you know, out the window. So, at this point, I'm just gonna go for a Scald, as this thing sets up another Wish, and I was like, oh Jesus, this guy's gonna be pulling some fucking funny business on me with that Wish. I hate Sylveon. This thing, look at its weird, like, creepy eyes, like, it's got ribbons on its head, like, what are you, Sylveon? You're creepy, that's what you are. But yeah, so the Scald obviously does nothing to this thing because these things are freaking beasts. As now I'm like, you know what, I probably should have just set up a Toxic that last turn. Would have been pretty helpful. I know that he does have the Heal Bell, but I guess it would still be a minor inconvenience. I don't know. So I go for a Toxic as he actually switches into the Swampert, and I was like, welp, this Swampert's wish is going to come true. So that puts him at almost full, and he's going to have to take the poison damage and shit, but still, him having that amount of health is kind of annoying because my team just does not have a lot of stuff that wants to take care of freaking Swampert, so I'm just going to go ahead and stay in here. The good news is that Swampert honestly just does not have a whole lot for Milotic either, so he is forced to go for a Roar there. Luckily I didn't switch out, but it's going to bring me into Green Hornet here. It's going to take a lot from the freaking Spikes and then even more from the Stealth Rock. So my B is just out here just getting destroyed. I only have a couple switch-ins left on this guy, and I'm pretty bummed at the fact that I'm still bummed that I didn't have fucking Defog. Beedrill does learn Defog. If I had a Defog Beedrill, that would have been so clutch. But I'm just going to go for a Protect just to kind of scout out what he's going to go for, but he just goes for the Roar, and that is quite annoying, as that's going to bring me into my Easy Bake Oven, who luckily only takes damage from the Stealth Rock. Don't have to worry about the Sticky Web or the Spikes because I'm out here. I'm a floating fucking toaster. What do you know about it? But yeah, so at this point, I'm really hoping that I'll have enough damage to be able to kill this thing. I'm just going to go for an Overheat. He actually surprisingly switches out and goes into the Sylveon. Well, not really super surprisingly, considering this thing does handle special attacks super nicely. I am Life Orb, though. So I go for the Overheat. It does a lot of damage, but I'm not going to be able to take this thing out with another one. And I'm like, well, at this point, I kind of, honestly, I was like, well, this match is kind of screwed. I can't handle this Sylveon. It's just going to keep setting up wishes. Thing as a damn witch, but I go for the Volt Switch. Easy Bake is going to go back in the back pocket for later, just in case I might be able to make something happen with that thing. You never know. So here I decided to switch into Mamoswine. I knew that I was going to be able to take at least one Hyper Voice from this thing, unless it was like really specially attack invested. So I go in and I take my hazards. No big deal. I'm just kind of used to it at this point, as he actually goes for the Hyper Voice, and I'm able to live that with 14 HP, which is super clutch. And I was like, okay, maybe Ice Shard will have enough damage to be able to kill this thing. But he goes for the Protect, which is going to not only stall another turn, it's going to give him one more turn of leftovers, which is really shitty for me. I was really, honestly, I think I would have been able to kill this thing had he not gotten one more turn of the leftovers. So Ice Shard isn't going to be able to take this thing out, as he is going to expect me to die from my Life Orb. He is just going to set up a Wish, which was a really nice play on his end, and now that means that the next thing I bring in, he can just go for the Protect, and then he can get his Wish, and then he's going to be back to like freaking full health. So I'm like, Jesus, I just cannot catch a break against this damn Sylveon. But now I'm going to bring in my Beedrill. I realize, hold on a second, I'm fast as hell. Even with the speed drop, I'm definitely going to be able to be faster than the Sylveon. So I was like, I'm going to be able to finish this shit off right here and right now. So, but he is going to switch into the Swampert, who is unfortunately able to take one more Poison Jab for me, which is really shitty because next turn, he's going to get the Wish. So this man is just wishing up a storm. This Swampert is just... This thing's health is just all willy-nilly this battle. But yeah, so he's looking pretty damn healthy even though he's poisoned. I'm not really going to be able to do a whole lot here. I don't have any more switch-ins for Beedrill because I'm going to die to the Stealth Rock next turn. So I just go for the Poison Jab and hope for a crit at that point, but it doesn't come. And he's able to finish me off with a Scald. So down goes my Green Hornet, but at least I've sort of mildly whittled this thing down from its Wish after the leftovers and then the poison damage. At this point, I'm just kind of stoked to see this thing at, like, you know, not full health. So that's pretty awesome. I decide now to switch into my Roserade. I know that even with the speed drop, I'm going to be faster than a Swampert because I'm a fucking fast flower who doesn't need no man. And I'm going to go ahead and actually expect him to switch out here. At this point in the match, you kind of have to make risky predictions playing from behind. So I went for the Sludge Bomb, actually expecting him to potentially switch. But he stayed in there, and that kind of, you know, pooped on my parade a little bit. So down goes my Roserade. But the good news is this Swampert is going to go ahead and die from its poison damage. And I was like, thank God I got a Toxic on that thing. I'm pretty stoked about it. So down goes the Swampert. Don't have to worry about that blue asshole anymore. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the battle gets really weird. Remember last battle I uploaded? I got fucked by hacks at the end. Well, we'll go ahead and see how Karma works out for me now. So he brings out the Mega Beedrill, and I was like, okay, Milotic, we're going to be able to take at least one attack from this thing unless we get a burn on it. If we get the burn, we are going to have a fucking party, because that means I'll be able to then recover, and then I'll be able to just pretty much Milotic the shit out of this guy's team. So he goes for the Poison Jab, and I'm like, please do not get a critical hit. He doesn't get the crit, and that allows me to get a Scald off. I'm crossing my fingers, and I get the freaking burn. So that is super lucky for me. Scald Burn could not have come at a better time. So at this point, with the amount of health that I have left, I'm feeling pretty confident that I'll be able to take another one. So I go ahead and click recover as he goes for one more Poison Jab, and Milotic lives it with 7 HP. So I'm able to get my recover off, which is going to set me above half. With the leftover recovery, I'm like, holy shit, I actually might have a chance here. So unfortunately, the Beedrill doesn't die to the burn damage, but he's able to go for one more Poison Jab, which allows me to at least get another recover off. So that's kind of fine. He does in fact get the poison on me, which is like, well, shit, that honestly really isn't that big of a deal, because I'm still able to get a recovery off, which is going to put me like at almost full. So I'm like, holy shit, there's a chance. Like, 1 in a million, but there's still a chance. This man does still have his Hydreigon left, and also that Sylveon, who has like 5 HP left, but I'm not really worried about that. So the Beedrill finally goes down to the burn damage, and it's like, alright, Milotic, let's fucking make this happen. So in comes the Hydreigon, and this is the moment of truth. Check this out. He goes for the Draco Meteor, and he misses it, which is extremely lucky on my end, and check this out. I go for the Ice Beam, get the freaking freeze. What are the odds of this? I've gotten like 3 lucky plays in a row, and Milotic is like, hold on guys, I'll put the team on my back. I don't give a shit about RNG. I make that shit my bitch. So Milotic, I have no clue how the hell the stars aligned for me to get that freeze and the Draco miss. I would have been able to take at least 1 Draco Meteor from that thing, but not 2. So the freeze there was pretty damn crucial, and down goes the Hydreigon. At this point, all this man has left is his Sylveon, and it does not look like he's going to be able to do it. So in comes the freaking Riven Eevee, and he goes for the Hyper Voice. Luckily, Milotic's like, no, I've gotten this far. I'm not letting that shit kill me. And one more Scald is going to finish off the Sylveon. So honestly, as this match was happening, I was like, holy shit, I've literally never been this lucky in my entire life. But I kind of felt bad, though, because that guy just completely lost to hacks. But then I thought about it, I was like, hey, I lost to hacks last time. So it's kind of just the way Pokemon goes. But I thought that was extremely interesting, just the way that played out at the end. I honestly, halfway through the match, I kind of considered that one a loss, just because I had to play from behind so much. But that was a pretty fun one. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.